Oh, I've not worn lenses since Christmas, and my body is sort of actively rejecting them as anything that might mean going back to normality, and wearing business wear and heels rather than my trackies and my slippers and my glasses. Hi there, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd talk to you about something that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. It's something I've said to friends and family that often is met with quite a lot of surprise, especially considering the field that I work in. Now you probably guessed from the title of this video, well, my thoughts are I never want to own a property, and I kind of want to talk about why that's okay, debunk a few myths, and yeah, just sort of help anyone else that's sort of feeling in the same boat as I am. So why do I never want to own a property? There's a lot that is said, particularly in the UK, about what owning a property means. There's an old saying which is an Englishman's home is his castle, and it's always been sort of perpetuated that to own your own home is the height of achievement. You will never get anything better than owning your own property and having a place to call yours. And I think this is really damaging for a lot of people, not only because it's so financially difficult to own a property these days, but also because it's not what everyone wants, and people feel like there's something wrong with them if they don't want that. There is nothing wrong with you if you don't want to own a property. I am 26, nearly 27. Granted, I'm very young still. I earn decent money. I could probably save for a deposit if I wanted, but that's not what I want to do with my money. And I am very happy renting. I've always rented, and I think that renting is amazing. It gives you so much freedom, so much choice. You can go wherever you want and do whatever you want and find any kind of property you want. Yes, okay, I have lived in properties with bad landlords, and those are difficult. It's when your landlord is difficult, it can make your living scenario unpleasant. But let's come back to that point later on. Renting is brilliant. People who say renting is throwing away money, I can't even understand that. In exchange for your rent, you get somewhere to live. I think that's a pretty decent deal. And to all those people who say renting is throwing away money, I want to stay somewhere cheaply as possible, maybe live at home with my parents or whatever, and save for a deposit. Do you ever think about the money you're spending on interest rates on your mortgage? Is that not throwing away money? And then when you add in that argument, is anything not throwing away money? If it's not saving for a deposit on a house, is going out on a Friday night with your friends not throwing away money? Or again, back to the interest rates on your credit cards not throwing away money. I mean, it all comes down to personal preference and what are your personal priorities and goals. If you are so desperate to save up and get a decent deposit and put that into a property, then fine. I'm not here to judge anyone for it. But what I want people to be aware of is that is not the only option. So for me, my financial priority is to save for traveling and to save for a couple of other ideas that I've got in the future that are going to require quite a lot of financial backing. And I have no interest in owning a property, because you don't own that property until you've paid off the mortgage. The bank owns that property. And this has been perpetuated by the budget last week, where the government have said that they're going to reintroduce the 5% deposit. That means you're getting a 95% loan from the bank. The bank owns 95% of your property. And again, this is something we've seen play out with the poor people that are suffering in the wake of the Grenfell fire incident and what this has done to property values of those who live in a flat where they have the same cladding that was on the Grenfell Tower. And I think I read a statistic that 1 in 3 of those people who live in those kinds of properties are going to have to declare bankruptcy because they don't own the property. The bank owns the property. And it makes me really angry and really sad that so many people of my age have been sold this lie that the biggest achievement you'll ever make in your life is purchasing a property. And people save so hard, particularly in the southeast. They save all of their money. They miss out on experiences that you're supposed to have in your 20s because they're just putting every single penny that they can afford into their savings every single month. All they're coming out with is 50 square feet of a converted Victorian home that was never supposed to be converted into 4 or 5 different properties. And it makes me so sad that people are putting so much of their hard-earned money into this, and they're just a small 1-bed or studio flat in a zone 3 area of London, and it just feels like, yes, I've made it. And if that's really what you want, brilliant. But in my view, I'd much rather rent and live in a nicer place in London. If this is a London specific conversation here, I'd much rather rent, live in a nicer place with my friends for a few years, do all the things I want to do while I'm in my 20s, and then think about it in the future. There's nothing wrong with putting a bit of money away every month. I think it's incredibly sensible to be putting money away every month. And if you have specific savings accounts for potential use of a new property, or maybe you want to go back to school and you want to do another degree, great, then that's a fantastic way to spend your money, is investing in yourself. But don't feel that you should be scrimping and living a miserable life for months so that you can afford your studio flat in zone 3. And part of this is down to my industry. It's down to there not being enough good quality affordable homes on the market for people, which means that people are squeezed into these tiny little studio and 1-bed flats in properties that were never ever meant to be converted. And to make matters worse, in this country, property is an asset. It's not a home. So people save to buy investment properties. And again, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. It's something that I've looked into myself. But this is where we get the issues with the rogue landlords, with the bad landlords. I know in a lot of other countries, such as Germany, Holland and France, renting is seen as no better or worse than owning a property, and landlords are so carefully regulated over there, which means that if you rent, you are just as safe there, if not safer, than in an owned property, because like I say, you don't own that property. The bank owns most of the property until you paid off that mortgage in 25 years time. So that's what this system needs, is better regulation of landlords, really, to provide good quality rented homes for people for a lifetime. Families should be able to rent a property and be able to stay in that house for 20, 30 years like they would if they owned it. And surely that's in the landlord's interest. They know they're getting a long-term fixed income from that family. It blows my mind. I think the reality is that because of my age, I'm now seeing a lot of people on social media who I either went to school with or university with, who are now either buying property, having children, getting married or something, and I'm having some kind of massive aversion to all of that sort of traditional norm, and I just want to rent this place in Brighton for a year, and then I want to move somewhere else for another year, and then I don't want to have children, and then I want to go and travel or whatever else. And again, I think that's all sort of been amplified by COVID and the lack of options available. So I don't know, feel free to tell me that I'm wrong in a year's time, and when I'm saving to buy a house and I want to live in the suburbs of London or something. But at this very moment in time, I would be happy never owning a property, and I want everyone to know that it is okay, because statistically 1 in 4 millennials will never own a property in this country because of how wholly unaffordable it is to get onto the housing market. And that thought sickens me. It's just gone mad. The whole property industry has gone completely mad. And like I say, I work in it. I am part of the problem. But how do you change a problem? You do it from the inside out. So let this be a force for good. Let's all try and reshape Britain's housing and property market and make it somewhere that everyone can have a good quality home. That's all we want from Planet Property. So I hope you enjoyed my ramblings about, general ramblings, I guess, is what is the best way to describe this. And I will see you next time. Bye.